Thunder and Mavericks tied at 1. Timberwolves up 2-1 on the Nuggets. Celtics and Cavs tied at 1. Pacers and Knicks. Knicks up 2-1 in that series. Knicks won last night. 2-1. Nuggets won last night. Nobody in that series has won at home. Is that weird, guys?
That's right. No time in the 78-year history of NBA basketball will somebody go undefeated in the playoffs.
It might be the Timberwolves' time, though. I mean, to go in there to Denver and win 2, that's impressive.
Yeah, but then you got blown out last night.
They did.
They didn't play well at home.
But
Like
I just said, none of them have.
You know, here's
Road
the
teams
difference
won every one of
in
'em.
this series. Minnesota better come
right,
ready
Kevin.
to play tomorrow. Because if they go back to Denver tied 2-2,
they're in
done.
trouble.
They're done.
They'll be in trouble.
Yeah,
They really needed to get that one last night.
Y'all are so weird.
Well, Edwards went out last night and he goes, I'll be ready Sunday. And I'm like, okay, why was you not ready last night?
How quickly these guys say you're done. I mean, it's like it's 2-2.
Yeah,
it's
right.
2-1.
It's 2-1.
Right.
He was saying if he got he said if he got game
if
2.
it could be, it's 2. I mean, it's just like it's so dumb. It's like, well, they're done, but they've won there twice. Why are they done?
They're done. You go back to Denver 2-2.
Kevin, did you just say I didn't know basketball?
No.
If
Like
you started-
just said
I know
I didn't know
basketball.
If you
basketball.
started,
Like this guy
if you
knows
started the
basketball.
series and said it'll be 2-2, you wouldn't say, well, then they're done.
They're done. It's just
Before
just
the
dumb.
series, if you said
The
it'll
thing
be
that
2-2, you
the
would
thing
say,
that
"Yeah,
surprised me the most is that Minnesota won game 2 without Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
when they didn't win 3 with him, right? So maybe
Right.
he should be sitting on the bench.
Right.
Possibility.
I'll tell you what, the Cleveland
NBA
game,
does it all the time. If the matchups work better without somebody.
When Cleveland, I think the first time Mobley had to go out. No, they don't have Jared Allen, so they put in. They went small. They didn't go with Thompson, because Thompson's back playing with them, and they got beat. So this time Mobley got in a little bit of foul trouble. Like I think he picked up his 3rd foul, and they put Thompson in. And they were like, "Oh no, they're putting Thompson in." They built the lead with Thompson in the game.
Thompson has played the game.
Right, and I think
He looks like he's 50.
But he brings that veteran presence, and I think that they might have found a little something there that they don't have.
Get blown out.
Well, why don't you just shut your mouth while I'm talking? I'm saying that they have found something. You talk. This is a talk show. Shut up. That they
one won by 26 in game 2, the other one by 27 in game 3.
I'm just telling you, they may have found something
they
that
found
bothers Boston
until they play today.
We'll see, Terry.
Oh, I didn't know y'all had jumped over that.
He jumped it. No,
talking about
Tom did. He won't let us get through with one before he jumps over something else.
Well, you won't let anybody else finish a sentence. I mean, your team got beat. They got embarrassed on their home floor. And you're just trying to say the other team's done. You got embarrassed, Terry.
Same thing Miami did.
Embarrassed on your home floor.
Miami blew us out in game 2. Go back and look.
You'll get embarrassed again.
But then they didn't win another game.
Well, we'll see. You got to go to Rocket now, buddy. You got to go to Cleveland
Tom,
now.
I sent y'all a thing saying money talks. Money talks.
So what's that got to do
and
with
nobody else in this individual place will say Cleveland's going to beat Boston. Because y'all know better.
I've already said it, Terry.
You know better.
Tom and Kevin have the Cavs over Boston in this series on my sheet.
It'll not happen.
I mean, it's just
Tom and Kevin both have Cavs on the sheet.
But now I'm giving you a chance here because the all-time series between these two teams is Boston's got 139 victories, Cleveland with 87. And that's the reason I sent you that back. I'm like, okay, so bet on Cleveland. If you knew basketball like I do,
you don't know basketball.
I would be able to sit here and tell you in playoff series, Cleveland leads Boston in playoff series. 25-23
who's the head coach
in playoff series.
Who's the head coach of Boston? Who's their head coach? Who's their head coach? What's his name?
Tom, we're not going to all of that. We're talking about other stuff.
There it is, guys.
No,
he knows
that's not nothing. When y'all do that, I'm never going to say nothing.
I know, because you.
When y'all ask me a question, I'll never answer it.
That's what I'm
Thanks
saying.
for having me on the show today.
Yeah,
he knows basketball.
That's what I'm saying.
Capitol Hill.
I'm not going to answer that question.
He's not going to answer.
That's like saying
vote for
name
Terry.
somebody off his team. Well, I'm not going to do that if you're going to ask me.
Okay.
But you're not going to sit there and think your Cleveland Cavaliers are going to beat Boston.
All right.
You know better.
So I'm going to ask Terry, you're talking about history, right?
Yep.
All right. Between those two teams, who we talking about? Boston and Cleveland?
That's what they're playing each other.
Let's see. Which between those two teams?
It was 2-1 this year, all close games during the regular season.
Yeah, the game that y'all won was a game that we blew a 30-point lead. Remember that?
So you're saying that you suck really bad?
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Calvin.
So you suck really. That's how bad you suck.
I mean,
get up 30 and
it's
can't
not
win.
one of them things. You sitting right there in that seat.
I am sitting here.
Yeah, with that Ohio whatever shirt on.
That's because where I'm from, too.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not from Boston. Obviously, you are. You can tell by the way you talk.
You know this is not going to happen.
In the last 10 years, the Cavs have been in 4 finals. The Celtics won.
And we put him out a couple times.
And he's talking about the 80s.
He talks about
Well,
it.
I'm talking one time in the 80s. I'm not talking about the 80s.
I'm talking about the last 10 years. You
I'm
said
talking-
he
history.
brings up
I
this like
can bring
history.
up the 80s.
You said history.
One time, yeah,
and I
history.
said, okay, let's talk about the last
I'm
10 years.
talking about history. One time in the 80s, Cleveland beat Boston
Terry got laid.
16 straight times.
Okay.
Was that
So
was that the Brad Daugherty, Craig Elo?
Yeah, that was all that group. They beat Boston 16 straight times.
Late 80s, yeah.
Early 80s. Wrong, Tommy.
No,
No facts.
Craig
if you come
Craig
talk
Elo
to
was
me,
like 89,
That was in
88.
the
You know,
late 80s, Terry.
no, it was in the early 80s.
Well, then it wasn't Elo.
Okay, it was in the early 80s.
You're talking about when Bird and all them were still playing, when Bird was winning back-to-back MVPs. Cleveland beat Boston 16
That's
times in a
84,
row.
85, and 86. He won MVPs.
If you're talking about Craig Elo and Brad Daugherty, that was mid to late 80s, Terry.
Well, the Cavs have a championship in the last 8 years. The Celtics, it's been
2008 or so.
16 years.
16, yeah.
Whoever was on Cleveland's team between 1982 to 85, that's when they won 16 straight against Boston.
Did you look that up?
No, I know facts.
Got them on
I'm
VHS.
hard. I'm
got them
hard
on
for you
VHS
to
tapes.
understand that.
He's got them
That's
labeled.
what I'm saying.
16
It's
straight
hard for
losses to
Tom
the Cavs on my
understand.
VHS
Sometimes
tapes.
people know facts.
Knicks and Pacers. I said Knicks 2-1 up on the Pacers.
It's been close. Every game's been close.
God, the East is so boring. No
Every
offense to
game's
y'all's
been
two
close. Knicks have got Brunson, but Brunson's hurt.
He claims he got fouled last night on that last shot. I cannot believe that you haven't. I'm going to tell you something about that series I did not like. How can you take 78 calls and send it to the NBA officials and the NBA league that these were all bad calls? 78. That means every call that was made was against
Pretty
you.
much.
How can you do that? There's something wrong with that whole aspect, even looking at that right.
Listen, I like basketball and everything, but the NBA,
It's almost a free for all.
They've been caught fixing games before, so like, you know, you don't want to question what's going on when you see it. But Terry, like the Lakers' free throw discrepancy between other teams is so outrageously ridiculous. It's not even close.
I can't even think of you even sitting there in a game and even claim that you've seen 78 wrong calls that should have been your favor and not theirs. That just blows my mind.
Here's our
and the guy that did
78.
it, the guy that did it is a seasoned coach. It ain't like a first year. This guy's been around 30
and then
years.
he gets mad because he's over clapping in the ref's
gets
face
kicked
and
out.
act like he's not supposed to give him a tech. If you come and do that to me, I'm giving you a tech because right then you're trying to embarrass me.
Now, what I didn't like in some of this, and I don't know if Kevin got to see this or not, but with Ant-Man, and they got him for taunting. Like, we got to get over that a little bit.
Did.
Like,
He laughed.
he
But
did.
Malone come out there and yelled in the ref's face, and
I know.
and he didn't get a tech.
I mean,
But now we also have plays where Murray could have hurt somebody by what he did the other day, throwing the towel
he
out
should have
there.
been suspended.
He should have. I'm sorry.
He should be suspended. They gave him $100,000 fine.
Yeah,
But
and he's not done anything.
They didn't suspend him because they wanted that series to be
And
competitive.
then he's the best player in the next
Yes, he
game.
was.
So-
Sure was.
So, is the NBA fixed what you think?
He should have been suspended.
The guy that's
What if
suspended is out here
Towns would have
scoring 25
stepped on
points.
that and all of a sudden jerked his leg out and tore an ACL
Done
or
for
something and
career.
it'd been done?
For career.
Or what if it was Anthony Edwards? Would
Yeah.
you have suspended him then?
Oh,
Or would you not?
Ridiculous.
Okay, this is why I think the NBA is fixed too. I placed a small wager on Cleveland,
Oh,
Boston,
God. Here we go.
and it was 6-1. And as soon as that game started, it kept offering me cash out on the one bet. But it wouldn't offer me the other because I took the over, 212.5. So it got close to 212.5. Boston just emptied their bench. They put in a bunch of custodians.
They did.
Okay. And then the score got to 212. Cleveland dribbles the ball out. Boston gets the ball. Boston dribbles the ball
Yep.
out. Just mysteriously.
Exactly on the number.
Mysteriously. And I kept looking. I was like, I'll cash this out, man. If they give me, and it was like never once offered to cash out on that bet. It's fixed.
The
It's
number
fixed.
tonight is 211.5.
I'm not touching it because it's fixed.
It is.
It made you wonder.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
fixed.
Made you
It just
wonder.
happened that Boston puts in all their school bus drivers for the
And
last
the
4 minutes of the
custodians.
game and the
Yeah.
custodians, and they pulled a couple cheerleaders in to play.
Yeah.
And then Cleveland, we're just going to dribble the ball out. And then Boston, we're just going to dribble the ball out. You going to tell me them scrubs don't want to score? They don't want their name in the book? They probably said, Louis Fingers, you're going to sleep with the fishes. You score a basket. It's just.
But when you're down by that many points, there's no use in scoring. What's
you
it
want your name in the book, Terry. You want your name in the book.
scored in the playoffs.
Oh, wow.
You want your name in the. I don't care. I mean, these are still young people. They want to make.
This is NBA professionals.
They're not professional. They're professionals, but they ain't professional.
I guarantee
you know what
some
that
of them
means.
people that we stuck in the game last night have been college elites.
And they want their name in the book in the playoff game.
When it's 20-some points, Tom, you don't need your name in a book.
I'm just telling
So
you.
I can run over after the games. Go, how many
when they
points did I
got
score?
when they got to 212 and there's a
3.
minute left in this game, all somebody's got to do is score one more basket,
Oh, I'm with you. I understand exactly what you're saying.
and both teams just dribble the ball out.
How did they get 3 points on a layup last night? Knicks went from 99 to 102 on this layup right here.
He got fouled. Boom.
Terry, you don't get it. You get the free throw line.
They just messed up the score. I mean, they've probably fixed it.
I'm scrolling down a thing that's called NBA Fix, so I had to do a search.
It's just fixed. You know when you've got the right bet because they'll offer you the cash out. Go ahead and cash out. Go ahead and cash out. And then the one I said, why is it not? Cleveland was a 12 point underdog, 12.5.
Terry, this is called a defensive foul. Jokic just lowered his shoulder and threw the bow in his chest, and they called it a
Right
defensive
there,
foul.
hit him in the head.
Oh, he did. After he hit the chest. But
Right there.
Tom,
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna do to Caitlin. Boom, right in the chest. Gonna break a rib.
But I tell
I
you,
have broke a man's rib on the blocks.
it depends on who you are. If you're Jokic, you get that call.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
If
You see
it's-
what?
if you're Larry the bartender, you don't get that call.
There's Don hit.
Wow.
Definitely.
Who's that?
The guy who used to
you-
fix
you
games.
really
fix
got-
the games.
Well, there was a
The
play
one they
last
threw under the
night.
bus.
Yeah.
He's the only one, guys.
Yeah, there was a play last night where Murray ended up with a slam, and he took like 1 or 2 more steps than what he should have, because they don't call it.
It's-
I mean, he had 3 steps to the goal and slammed it. But we're not going to call that because it's the NBA.
that is aggravating, Terry. And then my youth basketball kid shuffles his feet, takes one dribble, and goes left, and the refs.
Beep. Yep.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
40 feet from the basket. Calling that shuffle.
I've
and
watched-
LeBron took 7 steps last night.
I have coached basketball. I have watched basketball. I have run the clock for basketball. I do not know what a walk is.
No,
I
whatever
don't
they
know
feel
what
like.
it is. I mean, it's just like
It's turned into defensive pass interference. It's whatever.
It is.
It's whatever the refs feel like. that
you know,
time.
Kevin. I can't believe I say that. I agree with you that it's. We don't agree very much on this show, but I will agree with you there that I've watched it, and it's just like sometimes a kid just takes a dribble, walk. It's like he just took a dribble. How you calling a walk on that? And
Because
the next
he
time,
shuffled his feet before he
Right.
took off.
but still,
high school refs love that
no.
call. It's like they sit,
No,
they,
Terry.
they sleep on that call.
Oh, I
I'll
love
sit
it.
there.
They'll call
He'll-
it 20 times.
He'll
a game.
take the ball and go straight down as he's taking a step.
Right. So what, they're calling the quick shuffle on their feet
Yep.
before they dribble is what they're calling, Tom. And they love that call, which is a stupid call because 2 seconds later, they'll let them pick the ball up and take 7 steps and lay it up. And you're like, well, I'd rather you call that one than the one back here.
Watch the ball go to the block and how many times a guy will change his pivot foot.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, you'll watch a guy change his pivot foot over and over, not get that call, and then you're going to call the slight. Maybe he moved the feet just a little bit before he bounced the ball. You're going to call that, but a guy on the block's allowed to change his pivot foot. Just sit there and watch it.
Oh,
Just sit there and watch it.
Let's look at our picks. Terry, Zach, and Chip have Boston. Me and Tom's got Cleveland. Terry had Philadelphia.
I'm out.
Tom had Philadelphia. Tom had Philadelphia in the finals. Pacers.
He does every year.
I know. Tom loves Embiid. Pacers.
Blame it on P.J. Washington.
Look.
P.J. Washington's fault.
Batum.
Embiid's a good player.
Batum.
Me and Zach got the Pacers in this series, and Chip is the only one with the Knicks in this series. Out west, none of us. Well, no. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Terry and Chip have the Dallas Mavericks. Tom, Zach, and I have OKC in this one. All of the rest of them have the Denver Nuggets in the finals. I have Minnesota.
I was worried about that Denver Nuggets pick. I was like, I think I might be eating crow on that one.
It's
I got them winning the championship.
I got Minnesota over the Pacers. Chip has Denver over Boston. Zach has Denver over Boston. Tom has Denver over the Sixers. And Terry has Denver over Boston. So 3 of you got Denver, Boston. Tom's got Denver, Sixers, and I got Minnesota, Indiana as our picks. Anything you guys want to? Any other comments on the other series right now? Thunder, Mavericks.
I'm just really impressed with what Minnesota was able to do. Now they came back to earth a little bit last night, so we'll see. Because the pressure's on them a little bit now.
I have
to win the next.
Right. The pressure's on them now because if they lose another one at home and go back to Denver, I'm not saying it's over. I'm saying they're in trouble. They're in trouble if they go back.
2 things I'll bring up is I like watching Anthony Edwards play. I agree with the
Anthony Edwards gave the DX sign to the Phoenix Suns crowd. He don't care one bit about going to Denver.
So I like watching him play.
He's not the only
2
player
things
on
that
the
come
team.
up. Terry brought up how many of
They're
the
2-0 in Denver, Tom.
how many of the
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the mentally that you think where you are. Think of where you are mentally 2-0 going home. And 2-2 going on the road, Kevin.
I know Terry don't agree, but I
that's
think this is the 2 best teams in the NBA. And I think you're watching the finals right here.
What,
you got 6 or 7 games.
Denver and Minnesota.
You got 6 or 7 games right here.
They split with Boston.
Y'all better hope you get past the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I ain't worried
tell
about
you what.
Cleveland.
Terry brought up.
He's not worried about Cleveland guys.
Terry brought up all the big names of the
That are out.
last generation. You know the older generation are out. And they're saying, now they're trying to find that next superstar, and they're going to watch the NBA machine get behind Anthony Edwards, which I don't have a problem with. I like Edwards.
Don't forget him.
Yeah, Gil same.
That's what I'm saying.
And Shaq brought it up the other day. He told Jokic on TV, I don't think you should have been the MVP.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that as far as MVP.
I thought it was a little disrespectful by Shaq. Shannon Sharp brought it up and said he was just jealous because he only got 1, and then Shaq rips Shannon Sharp say, well, if you ain't even top 10 in your position, you can't say anything about what I say.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Well, and when you go back and look at it, I know that was his 3rd one. That ties Bird now. But, Kareem, he had 6 NBA MVPs. He's the
Another good
only
passing big
one.
man,
Yeah,
by the way.
He's the
if you
only
remember.
one who had 6.
And the thing about Jokic is that he like doesn't even really like playing basketball. The funny thing is like, I do this because it pays well. I mean,
let me defend Shaq for a second. I know you want me.
You're going to defend Shaq after you trash him every week.
I'm going to defend Shaq. Let's switch their careers. Let's put Jokic in the 90s, or in the 2000s, and Shaq now. Who's got 3 MVPs and who's got 1?
Well,
Shaq had to go against Jordan for MVPs, and Hakeem for MVPs, and his teammate Kobe for MVPs. And David Robinson for MVPs. Who's Jokic going against for MVPs?
Embiid. Yeah. I mean, think of it.
Who's his competition? If Shaq played today, look at the centers across the league. What's he averaging?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, does he have more than 1 MVP if Shaq was playing in today's game?
Yeah, probably.
He's probably got.
So that's my defensive Shaq. In the 90s, guys, the 2000s, that was the greatest era of centers. All of those dudes could ball, and they overlooked them. And like I said, with Jokic with his competition, we talked about it last week. Anthony Davis is the only person that averages more than 4 points besides him in the post. So the rest of them are there is none. So I would defend Shaq on that one. That he probably, I'm not saying he should have more, but if he played in today's game or if he played earlier in the 70s or 80s, he would have 3 or 4 in any generation other than the one he played in, I believe. And that's me defending Shaq. He can't shoot free throw. But Zach, thought on that maybe?
I mean, I agree with you. You said today what would be score? I mean, he's probably in 35, and then he's probably getting 15, 16 rebounds a game. Think about that. Now, assists, that'd probably be a little bit different because Shaq don't pass the ball. But
seriously, all due respect with Draymond having to guard these other people, but like that's the size guys that they're sending at these centers now. Like if he comes into Golden State, Terry, how are they keeping Shaq from getting 35?
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
And I want to bring up something else too before we get off the NBA. Shame on the NBA for giving Defensive Player of the Year to the wrong person.
Should have been Victor.
Yes. He had 3 times more stats than Rudy Gobert, and they didn't want to give it to him because he's going to be Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, and it's never happened before.
He got Rookie of the Year.
He did, but why would he not get Defensive Player? He had 3 more times the blocks. It was ridiculous.
He should have.
I just think it has a lot to do with how your team does sometimes.
They had to have, but like Gobert, yeah. I don't know how you did. Have you seen the stat comparison?
The comparison stats, yeah, they played it on. It was ridiculous. How can you make the argument that Gobert was better defensive than Wembanyama?
I'll find it. All right, we gotta break. We'll come back. We'll finish up our NASCAR schedule or news notes and other tweets. I think I did a little bit earlier and some golf from this weekend too. KDCBroadcasting.com.